So guys, once again, good morning. So as I said, yesterday we had this lesson on identity. Um, I must confess, and when we watched the video, that was very, very moving. I was like, oh my God, I don't know. For some reason, I was feeling so sensitive with that video, and I really, really like it. So we were talking about this topic, identity, and we have been elaborating on that. And we had a very little piece of homework for today. We are connecting that topic, the topic of identity, with something related with language itself, which is the use of phrases to talk about the probability in the future, right? So we had this little piece of homework, um, and that's pretty much what we're gonna do. So if that's okay with you guys, I have opened a Jamboard. So what I'd like you to do is just to go there. I mean, I would like you to first of all make groups. I mean, it could be the same groups you're working with on the project. It's an option, but you can make just any group. And then we're gonna make 10 groups, by the way. Then we're gonna go to the Jamboard and allow you to put your sentences there. So the very first step would be every person in the group just to put their sentences there, and then you guys are gonna give each other peer feedback. It means that you guys are gonna help each other correct the sentences if needed. Okay, that's the very first thing. You put every one of you put their sentences there. So if we've got four people in a group, there must be four different sentences, for instance. You would put your sentences there. You're gonna give each other some peer feedback in terms of the structure of the sentence itself, and also, of course, in terms of the use of the phrases that we studied yesterday. Then I will go group by group. Then when we come back here from the breakout rooms, I will check every single Jamboard, and I'll give you comments on those sentences, and we'll explore the sentences just to make sure they are right or to make corrections if needed. Okay, is that clear, guys?
Yes,
Yes,
teacher.
teacher.
There you go. So here's the, oh my God, no, that's not the link to the Jamboard, of course. It's not like I want to insist on you to read that. Give me a second. Uh, Here we go. Here's the link to the Jamboard. So would you guys please go there? As you can see, there are 10 different slides in the Jamboard. So if you are the group number one, you use the number two, the number one. If you're the group number two, you would use the slide number two. So the number of the slide must correspond to the number of your group. That's exactly what we are going to do. So we're going to open 10 different groups. So as I said, the suggestion would be to work with the same groups you're working with on the project, but you can work with completely different people if that's what you want. Okay, guys, so we are going to take around 10 minutes to do that. In case you need my help for making the corrections, you can just let me know and I'll go there and I'll help you. And you put everything on the Jamboards, and then we are going to check your sentences all together. This is something which is connected to what we did in the first term, in which you guys studied language conventions. So we'll see how we are doing. Because by the way, those of you who had a not a that good a score in the writing part of the test, you will see that that's essentially the reason why. There were extremely long sentences. So punctuation was key there, and also the separation of sentences. That's something essential. So that's something that we will also have a look at this morning. So let's go, guys. Okay, guys, welcome back. So I just had a look at the Jamboards, and there are some which are just empty, which is something I don't understand. But let's say we are going to just correct what's there. So let me just share my screen so we can have a look at that. So in the case of the group one, we got nothing. Great. Let's continue with the number two. So in the case of the group number two, let me see. Okay, so we've got this three different sentences. So guys, if that's okay with you, I would like you to read your sentences and then we're gonna make comments on each one of them, okay? Felipe,
Okay,
Lina,
teacher. Yes.
John, there we go.
The first one is mine, so I would never change my gender and my royal family neither. It is about to happen that I move to another country in the future, but this would never happen that I change my nationality.
Okay, so there are a couple of things to mention. First of all, okay, the first part, I would never change my gender and my role in my family neither. That's good. But as you can see, then in the next part, you start talking about something completely different, which means that you necessarily need to use a different kind of punctuation here. It should be stop like a full period there. And then that means that the next pronoun should be with capital letters. So it should go like this. And apart from that, the expression wouldn't go, it is abound, but it's bound. It is bound to happen. That I move. It is bound to happen that I move, yeah, to another country in the future. But this would never happen. That I change, no. The next part doesn't sound very good. It is bound to happen that I move to another country in the future. And I would say, but I would never change my nationality. You see, you can just leave it like that. Let's make it simpler. So I would say simply, but I would never change my nationality. It is as simple as that. But I'd never, I'd never change my nationality. It is as simple as that. Okay,
Okay, teacher.
there you go. What about the second one? Who's the second one?
The second one is mine, teacher.
Hmm?
It is bound to happen that my role in the well, I made a mistake. In my family changes, and it could happen as well that I go to another country in Europe, but I'm not sure.
Good, excellent. There is just one little mistake. I mean, two little mistakes. The first one, of course, it should start with a capital letter, and then the one you said that happened. My role in my family. There you go. But that's it. That would be the only thing I would correct. Thank you very much, John. And then we've got the last one.
Yeah, the last one is mine, teacher.
Mhm.
So I could never change my region or the continent where I was born, but maybe I would like to move, well, to another country and
Mhm.
live there for a short time. I couldn't change my nationality, but but maybe I can get a visa or a permit to live in other country.
There we go. So there is, and once again, a little, I mean, not a little, there is a mistake here, which is this. Remember that every single sentence, we could say that every single sentence is one idea, which means that we need to be very careful with the way we connect them. So for instance, in this case, you say, I could never change my region or the continent where I was born, but maybe I would like to move to another country and live there for a short time. That, the whole thing, that's a sentence, right? And that sentence has two different clauses, remember? So one independent clause, one dependent clause, and it's okay just like that. But then here just say, I wouldn't change my nationality. So that means that you start talking about something completely different. So in that case, it's better just to use a full period and start a whole new sentence. So Maria Alejandra says, we use semicolon with the same function as in Spanish. Well, the functions of punctuation marks in general terms in English are different from those in Spanish. That's something we're gonna be having a look at, by the way. So I promise we will go over that. But we could say that at least in the case of, just to put it a little bit simpler, we use full periods basically the way we use them in Spanish, and that's one of the, I mean, commas and full stops or full periods are the two most essential punctuation marks. And actually, just by using those two, we can do a lot, you see? So we should focus first on using them properly. And that's what you can see here. We are using just periods and commas. And if we use them right, we can organize our sentences very well. But then when we talk about semicolons, for instance, the uses can be a little bit different. And that's something we're going to be having a look at as well. Okay, but that's something perhaps if we, let me see, if we get some time today, we may explore that as well. But the point is that punctuation marks don't work exactly the way they work in Spanish. They are different. Starting by saying that, as we said, guys, before, sentences tend to be shorter in English. That's a fact, you see? So that's something that makes a difference here. But once again, guys, as I said during the first term, if you ask me about what's the top most common mistake that we make when we are writing in English, the length of the sentences. We tend to write super long sentences, and sometimes we just connect them using commas, and that's a mistake in most of the cases. Thank you very much, guys. We're gonna continue with the group number 3. In the group number 3, let me see, we had Ana Maria, Diego, and Valeria. So, guys, I would like to listen to you. Who wants to start?
Al, you're first, please.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
now, so I wrote like this: life is in constant change and we cannot do anything about it. Thus, maybe in some years, my hobbies will change too. Maybe I will stop painting and I will start doing something else. Another thing that is bound to happen is how I dress. Eventually, I should wear something different for my work or just for being growing up. Life changes constantly, but still, I doubt very much that my gender change in the future.
Okay, great, Valeria. That was a great example. There's a lot of things we can change here. My gender changes in the future.
Changes.
But the rest, I mean, this is a very good example of a brief text, guys. For instance, as you can see, the very first sentence is what we call a topic sentence, you see? So life is in constant change and we cannot do anything about it, you see? So just by reading that, Valeria is telling you, this is what I'm going to talk about, okay? So this is what this short text is about. So when we are writing a paragraph, this is something which is highly recommended. We always should start by having a topic sentence in which we basically say, this is what I'm going to talk about. Just listen to me or just read my text, you see? And then you go little by little. And once you have closed an idea, you use a full period, you see? So we have in this case, in this paragraph, we basically have one, give me a second, 1, 2, like for instance, life is good. This is 1, then we have 2, then we have 3. There are 4 different sentences interacting in that brief paragraph. And that's a very good way in which we can actually organize the sentences. There are some comments I could make in terms of style. So for instance, in the second sentence, thus, maybe in some years, my hobbies would change too. Maybe I will stop painting and I will start doing something else. So this comma after this end, it's something that it's somehow optional, but it's there just because of a style. You see, this comma is not necessary there. We could delete it. But in terms of a style, it makes sense because it's like that's an intentional pause that you can make in order to emphasize more on the very last clause that you are presenting there. So that comma puts more emphasis on what's after. So it's okay in terms of a style. So this is an example on how punctuation is there not just for separating ideas, but also for emphasizing and you know, marking a very specific kind of a style. But I like it, Valeria. That was very good. Thank you very much.
Okay,
Who's
thanks,
next?
teacher.
Me, I guess.
Mhm.
After finishing my major, I would like to live in another country, but I would never change my nationality. Sorry, because
Nationality.
I think, because I think it is not necessary. Also, I guess over time, I would change my beliefs and I will question the things that others say. In reality, it probably probably won't happen. Then after many years, I hope to get married to my boyfriend. It could happen, but I'm not sure.
Okay, that's also a very good piece of paragraph. So let's see what can we say about this. So after finishing my major, okay, I would like to live in another country, but I would never change my nationality because I think it's not necessary. No. Also, I guess over time I will change my beliefs and I would question the things that others say. Okay, so in terms of a style, it depends on the kind of text we are writing. So for example, at the beginning, you could have used contractions in several phrases. So you could have used contractions here, 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 but you didn't. And then in the last sentences, you decided to use contractions. You see here in want, here as well. So that is not a mistake. But depending on the style of the text that you're writing, you should decide that first. So for instance, if you are writing an informal text and you want and you use contractions, let's use contractions throughout the whole text. So in what I would do is that I would have used contractions in the whole thing, or I would avoid using contractions. Because for instance, as you were reading, and when you say this, because I think it is not necessary. If I read that, I assume that the text has certain level of formality. You see, I assume that the text is somehow formal, and that's what my expectation is. But then when I see won't here and am not, I say like, okay, so this is like a mix, you see? So when you're going to write, you have to decide, okay, I'm going to write a formal text, so no contractions, and then you start. And then you say, well, this text is not an assignment. It doesn't have to be formal. So I'm going to use contractions because it's not a big deal, you see? So it's like a decision that you have to make from the very beginning in terms of style. Then the last one that it says, after many years, I hope to get married to my boyfriend. To my boyfriend, it could happen. No, this it could happen. It's another clause. And I would suggest separating it separated with a comma. So then after many years, I hope to get married to my boyfriend. It could happen, but I'm not sure. You see, that's what I would do. So it's just those two comments, but especially the use of contractions. Okay, so if you use contractions here, let's try to use it in the whole paragraph, or not to use them, because that makes in terms of a style, it's not very good. Okay.
Okay, teacher, thank you.
There we go. Thank you. Diego, please.
Okay. I really love my major degree. Nevertheless, it could happen that I won't work as teacher, but I'm not sure. Life takes many turns. I would like to have a huge family, and it's bound to happen to be married in almost 5 years. Those are my plans. I know that everything in life is changing and is having new different perspectives. And I think that I I didn't put the S, but I doubt very much that I'll change my favorite music, that I'll change my favorite music genre, because I'm so determined in those kind of things.
Okay, so yes, first of all, as Diego, as you said, thank you. There are a couple of typos, so we need to put a couple of S's here and there. So things, and there was another one. Different perspective. I just lost it. 70 different perspectives. Okay. Another thing, guys, is that also when we are reading the text, the punctuation somehow marks your pace. So, for instance, in this case, I should have said, "I really love my major degree." Nevertheless, you see, so there must be some stops. So it's like we cannot just read like that, as we've got some punctuation marks to respect. So I would have read it saying like, "I really love my major degree." Nevertheless, it could happen that I won't work as a teacher, but I'm not sure. Life takes, but I'm not sure. You see, as I don't have that punctuation mark, it gets a little bit confusing, because there is another clause here. So there should be another comma. So it could happen that I won't work as a teacher, but I'm not sure. Life takes many turns. You see, I would like to have a huge family, and it's bound to happen. And it's bound to happen to be married in almost 5 years. It's bound to happen that I'll be married. Let me see. I'm a little bit confused with this expression. Give me a second. And it's bound to happen to be married. And it's bound to happen that this expression, it's bound to happen, does not contain the information on the subject. So that means that we need to put it in the second part of a sentence. So, and it's bound to happen that I'll be married, that I'll be married, or that I might be married. You see? So it's like we have to use the I where somewhere, that I'll be married. I would put it like this. It's bound to happen that I'll be married in almost 5 years. Those are my plans. I know that everything in life is changing and is having new different perspectives, but I doubt very much that I'll change my favorite music genre. So I know that everything in life is changing and it's having new different perspectives. Well, I absolutely understand that sentence, but perhaps I would use a different tense. What if I say, I know that everything in life changes? That would sound a little bit better. Although this expression just like that makes sense, because if you say that, if you say, I know that everything in life changes, what I understand as a reader is that you are saying that that's the reality of life, that life is just that way. But if you say, I know that everything in life is changing, it sounds like you are talking about a specific moment in time, perhaps the pandemic, you know, and you are somehow talking about that you know that in this moment of history, life is changing, you see? So both options are okay, but what you need to see is that the message you send is different depending on the tense you use. So in this case, what I understand as a reader, or what most people would understand as readers, is that you're talking about this specific moment in history. And then you say, and is having, who is having, you see? So in that case, we need to use a pronoun. So I know that everything in life is changing and we are having new different perspectives, for instance. And I actually wouldn't say no different, because those two adjectives refer to the same thing. So that's somehow redundant. So I would say, and we are having new perspectives, or and we are having different perspectives. You see, so those are and the options I would suggest. First of all, and we are having, and then you should delete one of these two adjectives. I would change, perhaps just as an example, different, and we are having new perspectives. But I doubt very much that I'll change my favorite music genre, because I'm so determined in those kinds of things. There you go. So those are my comments, but in general terms, the text is also very well organized. Thank you, Diego. So group number 4, we've got nothing. Then we've got the group number 5. Although, well, anyways, group number 5, Clara, Diana, and Tatiana. So who wants to start, guys?
Esther,
Yes, Diana, please.
okay. I could probably change my moral beliefs, but I am not sure. Though maybe my political and or religious beliefs are going to change. I am going to get a job, but I probably want to change my sexuality, not my gender.
Okay, so once again, guys, be careful with the punctuation when you are reading. You see, so punctuation is important not just for organizing texts, but also to tell you how to read your own texts. So in that case, should have been, I could probably change my moral beliefs, but I'm not sure though. You see, but I'm not sure though. So this though is always connected to the previous sentence, even though there might be a punctuation mark. So I would say, I could probably change my moral beliefs, but I'm not sure though. You see, there is no separation. I mean, we don't say, but I'm not sure though. No, we just connect that. The rest of the text, maybe my political and religious beliefs are going to change. I'm bound to get a job, but I won't change my, it's just perfect, Diana. I wouldn't make any other change. The only little correction has to do with the way we are reading that, okay? Thank you. Who's next in that group, guys? Yeah, who's gonna read the next one, guys?
Me, teacher.
Okay, Tatiana, please.
Okay, it probably won't happen to change my gender. It will never happen to my role in the family. Good change. but I do very much that change my belief, for example, moral or religions, because it's something that characters, but it is bound
Mhm.
I'm sorry, that my job change. Only if it please work.
Okay. So guys, the first thing we gotta say here is that, as I said, when we are going to write a text, a paragraph, we need to have a plan, you see? So it's like you say, okay, I'm going to talk about this topic, and to talk about that topic, I will start with a topic sentence, as we said with the example of Valeria, and then I'm going to support that topic sentence with 2 or 3 or 4 ideas. Which means that there are different ideas and we need to separate them, not just because of the sake of separating the ideas, because that's going to make it easier for people to understand. So in this case, we essentially have one single sentence, you see, because we have just commas. So it's like one extremely long sentence in which we are talking about different topics. So it makes it very hard for people to understand what you would say. The first thing we gotta say is that if you start by saying, it probably won't happen that I change my gender, there is a I missing. And that's your sentence, that your initial sentence. It means that the rest of the text is going to be about that. You see? So you need to be careful. If you say, it probably won't happen that I change my gender, period. It means that the rest of the text is going to be about that. And as we can see here, that's not the case, you see? So the very first sentence, you need to be very careful about the very first sentence, you see? Because that first sentence is introducing the rest of the text. And that's the key difference between a paragraph which is very well structured and very well written and a paragraph in which you just put sentences with no cohesion, you see? So I can make corrections here in terms of the sentences, but still the paragraph would have serious problems because there is no cohesion. It's just sentences separated by periods. Look, but there cannot be commas because they are very different. It would never happen that my role in my family would change. It would never happen that my role in my family, you don't have to use would again because you use it at the beginning, you see? So it would never happen that my role in my family changes. But I doubt very much that change. But I doubt. Look, and this first part is negative, and then the second part is also negative because of this verb. So you should not use this connector, but because there is no contrast. So it makes no sense. So in that case, you would have to use another different kind of connector, which in that case should be and. And I doubt very much that my beliefs change. You see, that changes my beliefs. We can never say that my beliefs change. Okay, change. For example, moral or religious. We should use this comma here. For example, moral or religious, because it is something that characterizes me, you see? And then this is one of the most obvious examples. The last sentence is absolutely different. So we necessarily need to use this punctuation here. But it's bound to happen that my job changes. There you go. So here in terms of punctuation, we just improved it. But the problem is that there is no cohesion among the sentences. Every single sentence is about something completely different. So we need to be very careful. Another thing that you should do to make it better would be to include a topic sentence. So there should be a sentence at the beginning that introduces the whole thing. So for example, in this case, we could say something like, I don't know, there are many changes that I know that I will experience in the coming years, period. You see? So you're saying there will be several changes in my life in the future. I don't know. And then you say all these things. Okay, it makes sense. But as we don't have a topic sentence here, this text still has got some problems. Clara has said that she doesn't have a microphone. So let's see. It could happen that the hobby changes, but I'm not sure because over time it changes like draw. You see, this is the example of what I say, guys. Look, this is one long sentence, one single sentence, no punctuation whatsoever. I mean, just commas. And that's something we need to be very careful with. Because in this case, look, I mean, we read, it could happen that the hobby changes, but I'm not sure because over time it changes, like drawing, playing an instrument, reading, playing sports, and then when it's working, I will earn a salary that allows having other cultural hobbies, such as attending a play, grow, plant, paint, make sculptures, build mechanical things, program for virtual reality, and having in practice with learning and education. Wow, you see, it's like there isn't an idea. It's just like phrases, like as if it was some sort of a machine gun. You're just shooting all those phrases, so it's like we cannot follow the discourse. You see, same thing. We need to have a topic sentence, a sentence at the beginning that says, "Look, this is what I'm going to talk about." You see. Imagine that when you're writing a text, it's like when you are introducing yourself to a person that you don't know, you see? So you don't say to the person, "Hello, my name is David and I love you." Wait a minute. You see, I mean, we don't know each other. Let's have a coffee first before we love each other. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you need to introduce the text and you need to make a progression slowly, you see? So in this case, you are shooting lots of phrases, so it's impossible to follow the discourse, you see? So it's like the step number one, you have to say, okay, this is what I'm going to talk about. So as in this paragraph, I'm going to talk about this, I'm going to write one sentence that says that to the person who is going to read. Look, this is what I'm going to talk about. And that is the topic sentence. And then you start telling your story sentence by sentence using punctuation mark. And at the end, you need to be able to count your sentences. So you say, okay, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sentences. Good. You see, so for instance, the first sentence, Diana's, has got some sort of a structure. We could put a topic sentence to make it better, but at least we know that we have, look, 1, 2, and 3 sentences, you see? So it's like 3 different ideas. First, I could probably change my moral beliefs, but I'm not sure though. Maybe my political or religious beliefs are going to change, and I'm bound to get a job, but I probably won't change my sexuality nor gender. So it's not a perfect text, but at least the organization makes it somehow easier to read. You see, in this cases, it's almost impossible because we don't have that punctuation. So you need to be careful about that. Okay, let's continue with the group number 6. In the group number 6, we have Laura Bermudez, Miguel Ángel Forero, and Nicolas Medina, guys. So I'm all ears.
Well, teacher, the first sentence is mine, and well, I wrote, in the future, I might leave the country, although I doubt that I will leave my family alone. It could happen that I will go with my parents, but I'm not sure.
Okay, we are missing a verb. I will leave, you said, will leave my family alone. So look, this is a very short text and we don't have full periods, but the difference here is that first of all, it's short. And second, we are talking about one single thing. So in that case, it's different because in this sentence, we are talking about only one thing. So that's why we don't need other, periods and stuff. So this is good. In the future, I might leave the country, although I doubt I will leave my family alone. It could happen that I'll go with my parents, but I'm not sure. Good, good, that's good. It's okay because we are just using a comma, but we are separating 2 clauses, which are 2 clauses of the same sentence. So one sentence this long, it's okay. You see, we can understand what you mean. So good, Laura, I think that's okay. There wouldn't be any other correction. The next one, guys.
The next one is mine. So in the future, maybe I will change my hobbies and possibly I will meet new people to spend time together. But I would like to travel to another continent, especially Europe, in order to know new cultures and new people. Also, in 5 or 7 years, I would like to study photography.
Right, Nicholas. Thank you. This is another simple example of what I meant. It's like if you want to talk about something different, well, use a period. You see, use a period. So in this case, we know we don't have a topic sentence either, but at least we have these periods which tell me, look, I'm going to talk about something different. It's like I'm still talking about this thing of probability in the future, but at least we know that we have 3 different ideas. So this is key. This is another example of how to keep things simple. Thank you, Nicholas. And the last one, guys?
The last one, it's mine.
Yes, Yana?
Um,
Please. Mhm.
I read, but I
Well, I'm losing you. I cannot hear you very well. I think there's, well, no, I think there's a problem with your connection.
other countries, and I would like to.
Okay, I'm gonna just reread it again because there
Now
was a
can you
problem with
hear
your
me?
connection. Yes, I can hear you a little bit better. Would you please repeat it again, please?
Well, I will never change my origin, but I would like to have the nationality of other country without changing my culture. Changing my culture, but meeting other cultures, and I would like to live in another country.
Okay, good. Let me just go over that again. I would never change my origin, but I would like to have the nationality of other country without changing my culture by meeting other cultures. You see, it's like if you feel like you're losing your breath, that means that you need punctuation. Because look, I would never change my origin, but I would like to have the nationality of other country without changing my culture, but meeting other cultures, and I would like to live in another country. You see? So it's like, wow, wait a minute, I'm just gonna die. So I would say I would never change my origin, but I would like to have the nationality of other country without changing my culture. This would be the first sentence. Still a little bit too long, but let's say we can leave it like that. Then, I mean, we need to separate it here. I mean, and we need to restructure it a little bit deeper. So I would like to meet other cultures, for instance. You are not using contractions, so I would like to me to get to meet cultures. No, we say I would like to get to know other cultures, to get to know other cultures, and I would like to live in another country. That's how I would put it. You see? So once again, guys, punctuation is key, and by this level, you should be able to get that. Actually, I mean, if you just Google it like that, I mean, you don't need to wait for me to go over a deep explanation on punctuation. If you just Google it like that, like punctuation in English, I don't know, you see? And then you will find articles on that. You see, there are articles in Cambridge and EF. I mean, lots of different websites. So that's something you should totally Google, you know, punctuation in English, just to make sure, because I mean, I can see that this is a very common problem. So we need to be careful, guys. Thank you. So we're gonna continue with the next group, which is the group number 7, in which we have Daniel and Gerson. So guys, I'm all ears.
Certainly, if I may.
Please, mister.
In the future, a lot of things may or may not change. It is up to my decisions on whether if I stay in the country or find a better life elsewhere. Alas, that would mean leaving all family and friends I have here. Now, to a less depressing take on this, my beliefs and hobbies will not change at all. I'm fine as I am with them right now. I could say very much the same for other trivial stuff such as clothing, music, and the sports team I support, which I don't. Nothing is certain in this life. One who lives up to the word can live up with facing adversity.
Wow, adversity. Let me just adversity. Good, 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 good. So, well, there is, once again, guys, when we are using punctuation, there is a moment in which we use punctuation just for the sake of dividing sentences, which is like the most basic level of punctuation, let's say. But there is also a moment in which we use punctuation for for a matter of a style, let's say, and this is an example of that. So let's start reading the first part. It says, in the future, a lot of things may or may not change. It is up to my decisions and whether if I stay in the country or find a better life elsewhere. So in this case, this is a possibility. The thing is that once again, we don't have full stops here. So that I mean, the structure goes like this. Look, basically, this is a sentence. You see, that's one single sentence because of punctuation. There are no full stops. So there are some cases in which semicolons could be replaced by full stops, as this is a little bit too long. You see, the good thing is that the structure of sentences themselves is good. So that's why we can understand. I mean, it's absolutely possible to understand, but I would adjust that. So we could have some full periods. Once again, let's think about the topic sentence. You see, so in the future, a lot of things may or may not change. It is up to my decisions of whether if I stay in the country or find a better life elsewhere. I just put a full stop there. You see, because that would be the topic sentence. You see, that would be an excellent topic sentence. I mean, it is a topic sentence. The only thing is that the way we are connecting it makes it a little bit, it's like, it makes you feel like, oh, wait, there is something missing. So it's like you cannot rest, let's say. Alice, which is a very sophisticated expression we've got here, that would mean leaving all my family and friends I have here. Let me see. Well, I think it's okay. It's okay. It's in the same paragraph, so it's absolutely understandable. Now, to a less depressing take on my on this, I like that one. My beliefs and hobbies will not change at all. I'm fine as I am. Wait a minute. So look, this is something which is not very common in English, which is using conjugated forms of verbs without a pronoun. We can do that when the pronoun we are referring to is, I mean, appears somewhere before in the sentence. What do I mean? For instance, if you say, I am living in Colombia and I'm happy with that. You see, it's like that the second conjugated verb, am, we leave it just like that. But because we just presented the pronoun I before, you see, in this, which is something you can do, but I suggest not doing, because in Spanish, and this is what Maria Alejandra says, philological facts. In Spanish, we have something we call sujeto tácito, which is one of the biggest differences between English and Spanish. And el sujeto tácito, bueno, let's switch to Spanish just for that, for the sake of that. In Spanish, el sujeto tácito se refiere a la capacidad que tiene el verbo de albergar la información semántica del sujeto o del sujeto que ejecuta la acción. O sea, el verbo tiene ya esa carga semántica. ¿Se acuerdan que decíamos que las palabras tienen una carga semántica y es como todo ese contenido, ese significado que les cabe? Entonces, por ejemplo, en español nosotros decimos estoy bien. Estoy tiene la carga semántica del verbo estar, pero también de la persona gramatical que lo ejecuta, que es la primera persona del singular en ese caso. Yo, ¿cierto? Yo estoy. O sea, que decir en español, yo estoy, yo soy, yo voy, ella está, es una opción. Solamente con el verbo se podría hacer una conjugación completa, ¿cierto? Estoy bien, compartiendo con ustedes, leyendo los textos. ¿Sí ven? No utiliza el pronombre nunca, porque el verbo tiene esa carga semántica y es lo que llamamos sujeto tácito, a esa capacidad que tiene el verbo de albergar al sustantivo, al sujeto que ejecuta la acción. In English, we don't have such thing. English doesn't have that. English always requires that information of the verbs. In the case of the subjects, in the case of the verb to be, it's a little bit different, right? And am is a very clear example of that because am is, I mean, in the case of am, we know that we are referring to the first, to the subject, to the pronoun I, but it's always better to use the pronoun. And if we leave it like that, we understand perfectly. But in terms of a style, it would be better to use the pronoun also. I am fine, you see. But, and with other verbs, this example of the sujeto tácito becomes more obvious because we cannot just leave the verbs like that. So that's, as I said, as it was before with just am, it's absolutely understandable, but it's better to always use the pronoun in that case. So I'm fine as I am with them right now. I could say very much the same for other trivial stuff, such as clothing, music, and the sport teams I support, which I don't. Nothing is certain in this life. One who lives up to their word can live up when facing adversity. I love it. Very, very well written. Once again, as you can see here, Danielle, you are using a style which is, let's put it like that, it's more sophisticated. So that means because of the use of expressions you have put together and the way you have organized sentences. In this case, I would not use contractions because of what I said. It's a matter of a style. You are not using contractions, and that would somehow combine, let's say, better with the style that you are displaying in the text. So I would just leave it, which I do not, you see, just to emphasize on the style you are displaying. But it's not a mistake, remember, that is not a mistake. It's just a matter of a style, okay? Thank you very much, Daniel, for sharing. That was a wonderful piece of text. Okay, Jerson, guys, a little parenthesis here. I just received a message, a text message from Codensa that goes like this. En el Codensa informa que realizará un corte de energía por mantenimiento programado entre las 8 y las 9:30. So, in case that I just disappear, we know the reason. So Jerson, please.
Okay, teacher. Well, in the future, I think to change my role in my family without the decisions I take. My parents could change their thinking the bad way about myself. I would prefer to change the bad behavior of my identity. Maybe in the future, I can obtain a better relationship with myself and the persons who I love. It is bound to happen that I change my beliefs about my identity and my environment because for many years I work about myself and I'm thinking about the world that focus on my love.
Okay, thank you very much, Jerson. So let's put everything together. So in the future, I think to change, then we should use a phrase of probability because I think to change, no, it's like we need to, I mean, that's why we were doing this exercise. So in that case, I would say maybe, you see, or it could happen. I don't know. So in the future, maybe, for instance, give me a second, please. In the future, I think I will maybe change. I would say, I think I will maybe change. I will maybe change my role in my family with all decisions I make. We make decisions, so it's not take decisions, but with all the decisions I make. My parents could change their thinking. My parents could change their thinking the bad way about myself. It's like they would change. I mean, it's like they think bad things about yourself, and in the future they will change that. That's what you meant, right?
Yes, teacher.
There you go. So in that case, you should say, my parents could, but as we are talking about the future, I would use another kind of verb. So no could, but my parents might or may change what they think about myself. Let's leave it just like that. So my parents might, for instance, might, which it's probability, right? Or my parents might change, or if we use the expressions we're studying, well, not maybe, no. My parents might change what they think about myself. You see, what they think about myself. I would prefer to change the bad behavior of my identity maybe in the future. This is a little bit weird about of my identity, but okay. I can be obtain a better relationship with myself on the person side. No, I could, you could say it's like in terms of a relationship, that's something you develop. So you could say, I could develop, you see, I could develop a better relationship with myself and the persons who I love. Then remember, capital letter over here. It is bound to happen that I change my beliefs about my identity and my environment because for many years I worked about myself and my thinking about the world and my thinking about the world and my thoughts, I would say, and my thoughts. You see my pensamientos and my thoughts about the world. This last part, I don't get it. Myself and my thoughts about the world that focused. I would say on my thoughts about the world focusing on love. You see, just to make it a little bit easier to understand. Focusing on love somehow. Is that, if that's better. There you go. Thank you for that, Thurston. We're gonna continue with the group number 8. In the group number 8, we had Ashley, Dylan, and Maria Alejandra. Please.
Yeah, teacher. Can you hear me, right?
Yes, perfectly. Yeah.
Okay. I doubt very much that I change my gender because I love to be a woman and have those feminine aspects that I think are correct. On the contrary, growth is bound to happen, so I will have 30 when maybe I have a Canadian nationality. I really hope so. I would love to be part of that fabulous country. Something that will never happen is that I will be an older sister. I'm not sure about that part because I didn't know what tense I could choose. So yeah.
Well, yeah, that's a couple of things. Thank you very much, Alejandra, for sharing that. So I doubt very much that I change my gender. Give me a second. That I change my gender because I love to be a woman and have those feminine aspects that I think are correct. Okay, it's good in terms of a structure. On the contrary, grow is bound to happen. This is confusing. I mean, because in terms of logics, I mean, it's like, yeah, you will continue growing older. So using the expression bound to happen is like, I don't know. It's like if I say, I suspect that I will get older someday. It's like, yes. I mean, you have two options. You will either get older or die, right? Because we are humans. So it's like, I mean, my point is, in terms of structure is okay. Although I would say growing up is bound to happen, you see? So in terms of a structure is good. But in terms of the logics itself, it's funny. You see, it's just funny because growing up is bound to happen. Yes, you will grow up, you see? So, but well, in terms of a structure is okay. So I would be, remember, wow, I would be 30 when maybe I have a Canadian. And remember, nationalities always go with capital letters in English. In Spanish, they don't. I have a Canadian nationality. I really hope so. I would use a full stop there. I really hope so. I would love to be part of that fabulous country. Well, that's good. Something that would never happen is that I'll be, I think, not am, is that I'll be an older sister. So it's like you will never have younger siblings. That's what you mean. Okay, those are my corrections, Maria Alejandra, just in case. Okay. Okay, Ashley, please.
Okay. Considering that my identity might change in the future, the first thing will be my belief, in this case, religious belief. I grew up in a Catholic family, but I don't feel fully identified. Maybe
Mhm.
I will opt for other option of religion and feel happy. This is bound to happen. I will be living in another part of the world, studying, working, and having a family. For this reason, I will have to live in a country and change my nationality. Finally, the career that I am studying now is not exactly what I wanted. Although I can have incredible job opportunities, I would like to change what I do for a job that I really enjoy, and it could happen, but I'm not sure.
Okay, Ashley. So first of all, this is an observation I made before. We've got to be careful with the pace that we have when we are reading. Okay, we shouldn't read as we were in some sort of a race, because there is punctuation. And actually the punctuation you use here is very good. In terms of punctuation, the text is very well organized. Let me see. In this case, when you say this is bound to happen, I will be living in another country of the world. So when you say this is bound to happen, you can leave a comma, but I would use a different kind of punctuation marks, you see, because you're presenting something which is going to happen after. This is bound to happen. I will be living in another part of the world, studying, working, and having a family. You see, that would be the only little change I would make. But in general terms, it's a very well written text. Thank you very much, Ashley. Let's continue with the number 9. In the group number 9, we have that's Angie and Nicole, please.
Yes, teacher, good morning.
Hello.
Okay, number one, I consider that we are always in constant change, and that is why at the end of my obligations, I would like to live in another country without losing my nationality. I feel that it can be a good experience to know different cultures.
Excellent. So nationality doesn't go with capital letters. That's the only thing. I consider that we are always in constant change, and that is why at the end of my obligations, I would like to live in another country without losing my nationality. Okay, so what do you mean by obligations? What do you mean? Because your obligations.
My
Yeah.
my major career.
There you go. At the end of my major. That's way better.
Okay.
Because obligations, I believe we have obligations until the day we die. And by the way, thank you for reminding me that. That was something I wanted to correct here, because Ashley said career, the career that I'm studying. No, woman, it's the major. Please, it's the major. I have corrected this so many times. The major. Your career will finish basically the day you decide to retire. Dying itself is an obligation. That is right, Daniel. It's an obligation, and it's the only thing which is certain in life. That's the only level of certainty we have in life. We are going to die someday. So that's the only thing. Angie, I would just change that. But that's good. But that's good. Although the first part, when you say I would like to live in another country without losing my nationality, is like take it easy. Don't be a drama queen. You will not lose your nationality if you go to another country. So as in terms of discourse, it might sound like wow, you're taking it too serious. But in terms of a structure, it's just perfect. Thank you. The next one, guys. Let's change the
Okay, me.
color. Mhm.
I'm sure that this person that I am changed with the time because happened that bad and good situations that give me something that to learn and help me to grow up. I hope that I could be getting my dreams and the most important, don't forgetting where I from and my family.
Okay, I understand, but we gotta make a couple of changes. So I'm sure that this person that I'm no, in that case, no. In that case, we cannot use contractions, you see, because we use contractions when we are basically starting a clause. And in this case, I am is part of the first clause, not the second, you see. So in this case, we cannot use contractions. So I am sure that this person that I am changes with the time because because of the good situation, because I would say because of the bad and good situations that happen, you see, that happen and give me, I would say, and give me something to learn. give me something to learn, and help me to grow up. You see? And no capital letter here. That's how I would put it. I'm sure that this person that I am changes with the time because of the bad and good things that happen, and give me something to learn and help me to grow up. I hope that I could get it, my dreams. I would say I hope that I can. I hope that I could. No, I wouldn't say I could because you're talking about the future, right? And that's something you expect to do. So I would say I hope that I can like realize my dreams, or I can make my dreams come true. I can make my dreams come true, I would say, come true. And the most important, comma, never, because don't, if you use don't, it sounds as an imperative, as if you were telling someone about that. And the most important, never forget where I am from, and my family. You see? Wow. So it was easy to understand the whole text, but there were several mistakes. So that's the only thing. So in the breakout rooms, guys, we had 10 groups. Let me see if we've got another group. This is the last one. For some reason, we have hundreds of posters, but no, we are just leaving with this one. The number 10. So guys, please, Daniela and Angie.
Okay. I think that will change in the future. In the future of my life will be my hobbies and the people that I spend my time, or the people around me, because we constantly meet other people. On the other hand, it could be happen that I'm not sure one thing that I may change my belief on my continent. It's possible that I live in another country, but I doubt very much that change my nationality. In contrast, I will never change my gender or the role in my family.
Okay, give me a sec. Um, hmm. So I think that what changes in the future in my life would be my hobby as well. We need to reorganize the sentence. I would say, I think that what would change, you see, because we are referring to something and we need to use a pronoun or subject or whatever. I think that what would change in the future in my life would be my hobbies and the people that I spend my time with, or the people around me. You see, that's how you should say that. I think that what would change in the future in my life would be my hobbies and the people that I spend my time with, or the people around me. I wouldn't use because we are starting a whole new sentence. And we would just start by, we constantly meet other people. On the other hand, it could happen, no capital letter here. It could happen, but I'm not sure. One thing that I might change, but I'm not sure. Another comma here. One thing that I might change my beliefs, or what? One thing that I might change my beliefs? No, one thing that might change because it's not you who change, but something. One thing that might change would be my beliefs or my continent. It's possible that it is possible that I live in another country, but I doubt very much that I would, but I doubt very much that I would change my nationality. In contrast, I will never change my gender or the role in my family. There you go. Those would be my corrections. Okay, thank you. The last one, guys.
I will never change my nationality, but maybe I would like to travel around the world. Also, it could be studying phonology, but I'm not sure. I am both to work in that, and really probably won't change my belief because they are the tendency left me to my parents. But maybe my hobbies could change because I think that I will have different pleasures. For example, at the moment, I don't like to do exercise or practice any sport. But maybe in the future, I will change my mind and I could do one of these two things.
Thank you, Angie. So once again, guys, be careful with punctuation and the way we read. Okay, so I would never change my nationality, but maybe I would like to travel around the world. Good. Also, it could be studying for, no, I could study. Also, I could study. But once again, I would prefer using I would be studying, but okay, I could be studying. No, I could study. That's it. Let's leave it a little bit simpler. I could study phono. Oh no, that's not how you write it. It should be like this. Phonoaudiology. Audiology, but I'm not sure. And I'm bound to work in that, on that. We work on things. We won't work in things, okay? On that. In reality, it probably won't change. I probably won't change my beliefs because they are the inheritance left to me by my parents. But maybe my hobbies could change because I think that I will have different pleasures. For example, at the moment, I don't like to do exercise or practice any sport, but maybe in the future, I will change my mind and I could do one of these two things. Good. That's exactly how we are, guys. So we took longer than expected doing this exercise, but I believe it was very important and necessary, you know, to take some time, guys, to see essentially how we are writing. And this is also an explanation on how, you know, we had the performance that we had when doing our writing section of the test. Okay, so guys, we are running out of time for what we are going to do. So as you may remember, the very last part, let me just stop sharing here. The last part of our homework for today, give me a second. Okay, was a question, right? We had a question. So who remembers what is the question that we expected to answer for today, guys? What is the question? I mean, what is the answer to that question? Who remembers that? I mean, what was the question, first of all?
The Takahashi presentation.
Okay, who wants to say something about it? Daniel, do you want to say something, please?
So I found both the Takahashi presentation, but it was like in the form of Takahashi method. Well, at first I thought it was like a joke way of doing a presentation, but now it's pretty serious, and it seems that it gives out pretty good like results. It's basically in a presentation, you just limit like every shard with just one or two words that are very relevant to the topic you are to talk about. And yeah, that's it. It's
That's
just many
essential.
slides and one or two words. And when you see that word, you say, oh, I'm going to talk about this now. Next, oh, this word is talking about that other thing. And I'll be talking about that other thing. And so on and so forth.
There you go, Daniel. Thank you very much. So first of all, we want to start by saying that this is a format for presentations. Those of you, I mean, last year when we were in this intermediate class, if I'm not wrong, or upper intermediate, I don't remember the level, but when we had this English class last year, we experimented with another format. Do you guys remember that format? It was Japanese as well. I don't know if you guys remember. Don't you guys remember? Oh my God, that's really sad. Because I'm 100% sure that we used it. Okay, so I will not talk about that. So you guys will have to remember that. So guys, what's the point here? We are going to use that format and I will share that link here and also on our WhatsApp group. Let me just share that. So I would like you to start by reading that. So I assume that you guys have read what a Takahashi presentation is, but I'd like you to read this article, which I found very illustrating on this topic. Okay, so once you have read this in your groups, it could be this same 10 groups. The next step would be this. Let me just show you. So if you, this is the worksheet that we were working on yesterday, right? This is the worksheet. So we are going to do the task number 4, which is the future and society, okay? the future and society, which is the task number 4. So right now, guys, please listen up, because as you can see, we have 4 different topics related to that, to the future of society. And each one of the groups is going to be assigned a different topic. Okay, so basically what you guys have to do, I mean, that your homework for tomorrow, you will prepare a presentation using the Takahashi format on one of these topics. So it's a presentation on one of these topics in which you guys will develop these questions. Okay, so with your presentation, you have to answer those questions, but you have to use the Takahashi format. Listen up, you have to use the Takahashi formats. That's mandatory. If you come up with a completely different kind of format, that means your presentation will be graded over 3. So I'm 100% sure that you will not have a passing grade. So this is essential to use that format. You cannot use any other kind of format. So you shouldn't come up here with, you know, this fantastic Canva animations. Hell no, that's absolutely out of the format. So I think Diana wanted to say something.
I have a question. The presentation is individual?
No, it's in groups. In the groups that it could be the same groups of your project or the same groups you were working on today. Okay.
Okay, teacher. Thank you.
There you go. There you go. So guys, listen up. I will assign you the topics or the topics that regarding the groups that we had today. Okay, regarding the groups we had today. So listen up, guys. Group number 2, Felipe, John, and Lina. You will have the topic A, group A, okay? Felipe, John, and Lina. That's group A, national borders. Group number 3, Ana Maria, Diego, and Valeria. You would have climate change. So that's group B, climate change. Then we have, well, I don't know. In the room 4, we had Camila, but she was alone, and I don't know if she's got a group. You can let me know by the end. Group number 5, Clara, Diana, and Tatiana. You would have internet use, okay? Clara, Diana, and Tatiana, internet use. That's group C. Then we've got group number 6, Laura, Miguel, and Nicolas. That would be interaction between humans and technology. That's group number 7, okay? Group number 6, I'm sorry. Then group number 7, the same topic, okay? Interaction between humans and technology. Daniel and Jerson, interaction between humans and technology. Then group number 8, Ashley, Dylan, and Maria Alejandra. I would like you to do your presentation on internet use as well. Internet use, Ashley, Dylan, and Maria Alejandra. Then group number 9, Angie and Nicole, climate change, okay, climate change. And then group number 10, Angie and Daniela, national borders, okay, that's going to be your topic. In case the group number 4, in which Camila is, in case you guys, I mean, decide to do this as well, I would like you to do your presentation on climate change, okay, Camila? That would be your topic as well. So it is as simple as that, guys. You will do. So I think Magdalene, it's the group number 1. I don't know, because I don't see anyone there. Because we are expected to have 10 groups. That's what I don't understand. You see that there is a mess with this. Well, I assume you're group number 1. So in that case, guys, let's do your presentation on national borders as well. Okay, national borders. So at the end, you can see this as like this assignment in the recording of a session that will be on YouTube. So you can see that as well if in case you missed anything. But it is as simple as that, guys. You will make a presentation on the topic that you were assigned, but you must use the Takahashi format, okay? That is the only rule. You have to use the Takahashi format. Apart from that, guys, presentations should be maximum 5 minutes. Okay, presentations must be short. It's 5 minutes per presentation. So it means that you need to be very well organized and prepare for that. We're gonna have a couple of presentations more during this term, and this is going to be a preparation for the final presentation of your projects. So this is going to help you a lot. Okay, 5 minutes, Takahashi presentation format, and the topic that you were assigned. Okay, it is as simple as that. This is in the worksheet that I share with you guys. So guys, as I just received a message, and it seems like they are going to finally cut my energy supply. So it's just for 1 hour, but that means that we will have to stop here. So let me just call the attendance really quick for this. In case you have any sort of question regarding this assignment, you can ask in the WhatsApp group. But once again, guys, very simple. On the topic you were assigned, read the questions, prepare a presentation using Takahashi format, 5 minutes long. That's it. Gerson Abril.
I'm here.
Laura Arias.
I'm here.
Ana María Buendía.
Here, teacher.
Andrés Felipe Bueno.
I'm here.
Camila Ulla. Erika Corredor. Tatiana Aspitia.
I'm here, teacher.
Ángela Valeria Fonegra.
Here, teacher.
Miguel Forero. Miguel Forero.
Present.
John González.
I'm here.
Claudia Goyes. Ashley Huesa.
Here, teacher.
Diego Llano.
Here, teacher.
Daniel Machuca.
Hello, teacher.
Johannes Martinez. Johannes not here. Angie Martinez.
You don't have problem with the
I'm here, teacher.
Okay. Dylan Medina.
Here, teacher.
Clara Monroy. Alexander Mutis.
I'm here, teacher.
Camila Navarro. Magdalena Ojeda. Dylan Paez.
Present, teacher.
Diana Palacios.
Present, teacher.
Lina Rodriguez.
I'm here, teacher.
Angie Rodriguez.
I'm here, teacher.
David Torres. María Alejandra Triana.
Present, teacher.
Angie Valero.
Hello, teacher.
Diana Baloyes.
Hi.
Okay. Tatiana Álvarez. Michael Cortés. And Lorena Vega. In this case, guys, as you are on this other list, still I can call the attendance, but I cannot register any absences. So that's why, it's like at the beginning you're not there. Okay, guys. So thank you very much for your time. I'll see you tomorrow. Just check the recording in case you've got any question. Okay.
Thank you, teacher.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, teacher. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.